Welcome to the Calm Analytics channel. I'm Boris Tizengausen. May 6th, today's top news as of this minute. Today, May 6th, is Infantry Day of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. These are the people who take the heaviest blow and still keep moving forward. Honor and gratitude to all who are serving now, and eternal memory to the fallen. Happy Infantry Day, dear Ukrainians. Yesterday, key targets were hit on the territory of the Russian Federation. A clarification from Magyar came in today. The Kirishi refinery in the Leningrad region, it turns out, stopped after yesterday's attack. This is just a massive blow to the Russian oil refining industry. In terms of numbers, it's one of Russia's largest plants, the second most powerful after Omsk. 20 million tons of oil per year it processed until it stopped. The shutdown was reported by the Reuters agency. To put it simply, Russia processes about 230 million tons of oil a year. Half of that, 116 million tons, comes from plants within a 1,500-kilometer radius, where Ukrainian drones can already reach, 1,500 kilometers from the border with Ukraine. And Kirishi is a loss of about 17% of all those plants that are within range. So this was a massive and very important strike. And yesterday it became known that the GUR primary units were active in Crimea, taking out a B-12 Chaika aircraft, 3 boats, a support vessel, and all of this in just one day. Let's watch the video, and in the video, pay attention. There, at the end, a Russian assault boat is trying to run away from our drone. Funny, right? You can't run from a Ukrainian drone, and certainly not from its debris. Watch this video. Such footage for me, as a Crimean, is just pure joy. So the occupiers will have no peace in Crimea until they get out of there. And in Crimea, by the way, they cancelled the military parade and mass events for Victory Day. The head of the occupation government, Aksyonov, said the decision was made for security reasons. And the event, this immortal regiment, will be held in an online format. Everyone into their holes, everyone into their holes. Parades are being cancelled across Russia. Festive events. Can anyone tell me what are they even celebrating on this day? They celebrate that just like once Nazi Germany attacked Ukraine, as they have done now. What are they celebrating? Just like Hitler once did. They are bombing Kiev, and just like that, most likely the head ghoul will shoot himself in the end in a bunker. Now I think the whole world understood what Z-Patriots mean when they say, we can repeat. But they have already repeated the feat of the Wehrmacht. That's what they managed to repeat. Can you imagine what a shame? Giant Russia, with all its huge army, equipment, aviation, and fleet, attacked Ukraine and broke its teeth. 5th year of the big war, Putin is forced to ask Trump so that Ukraine doesn't hit Moscow on May 9th. When Putin is overthrown and suddenly everyone sees clearly, they will start rewriting history. In Russia, probably this war will be called, I don't know, a troubled or shameful war. And school teachers will say, back in the era of the shameful war, when Putin hadn't shot himself yet back then. By the way, friends, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. It helps in promoting the channel. We are fighting Putin's propaganda here. Let's do it together. So be sure to subscribe. And don't forget that for everyone who subscribed, hair becomes soft and silky. Well, tonight, in theory, a ceasefire was supposed to come into effect. But the Botox trash decided otherwise. Today, May 6th at 10:24, Russian drones hit a kindergarten in Sumy. Unfortunately, it is already known about 1 dead woman and 2 wounded. There were no children in the building at that moment. If there were, it's scary to even imagine how many victims there could have been. Look at these frames. The kindergarten building is on fire. The head of the city administration, Serhiy Krivoshenko, clarified that 2 Geron-2 kamikaze drones hit the kindergarten at once. Also today, Kharkiv was attacked. There was a strike on a private house there, Kryvyi Rih, Zaporizhzhia region. My condolences to everyone who lost their loved ones today, and a speedy recovery to those who were injured. Well, that's how Putin wants peace. That's how Zelenskyy has already stated that the Russian side disrupted the ceasefire regime. I quote, "Based on the results of tonight's reports from our military and intelligence, we'll decide on our next steps. I think the response will be something that Botox jellyfish will never forget. He'll be scurrying through tunnels under Moscow like a rat." With yesterday's strikes on our cities and today's strikes, Putin shows he has no intention of backing down from his terrorist tactics. He can't do anything on the front. All he can do is strike peaceful cities, kindergartens, and hospitals. Undoubtedly, there will be a response. And judging by what Ukraine can do now, it will be a tough one. I think the residents of Tuapse, Perm, Yekaterinburg, and many other cities reached by our drones and missiles are crossing themselves right now. Well, and Ukrainian warriors are performing a truly heroic feat right now. They've broken the Russian offensive and continue to fight back against the Russian occupiers. In every episode, we have an important fundraiser for the defense forces of Ukraine. Today, we're starting a fundraiser for anti-drone protection for a brigade holding the line in the Zaporizhzhia direction. This fundraiser has an interesting story. A friend of mine, known him forever, a really decent guy, he's been in this brigade a long time, commander of an FPV crew. Just a great guy, a real one. His name is Vitya. Straightforward, humble. He called recently, and I had to pry it out of him, literally pry it out of him, what they need. They need a few devices right now for shooting down Russian drones. This often saves the lives of the whole crew. It's a small fundraiser, but an important one, like they all are. The link to the fundraiser is in the description for Victor and his brothers in arms. There's mono and private. Anyway, friends, let's help. And the QR code is always in the corner if you're watching on another channel. It's a small goal. I think we'll hit it fast. And more good news, yesterday we delivered a van for the 18th Separate Army Aviation Brigade, named after Igor Sikorsky. That's how it went. Looking at the photo, I don't know who's happier, the one giving it or the one receiving it. Anyway, the pilots are happy. Now they'll have a mobile lab for controlling drones. And to you, friends, they send their thanks, sincere and real, from the bottom of their hearts. And I took the opportunity to pass on the warmest words from all of us to our pilots. And our pilots gave me this souvenir, a souvenir like this. The inscription says, "Happiness is always on the side of the brave." Signed, Hero of Ukraine, Lieutenant Colonel Mykola Lyubarets. A true hero of Ukraine, a legendary figure. We send him our best regards as well. Every time we close an important fundraiser for our warriors and then hand over vital equipment, I realize just how much we all are together, a great force. And you guys are just incredible. In every episode, I give you a special thank you. Meanwhile, in the Russian Federation, fear has so paralyzed officials that their decisions are reaching the point of absurdity. In Volgograd, Russia, mothers with strollers were banned from appearing in the city center on May 7th, 8th, and 9th. Furthermore, citizens are not allowed in the center with pets, large bags, or backpacks. And what are they? Why no pets? I don't know what's going on. That's just how much they're afraid, right? Truly, the closer an empire is to its end, the crazier its laws become. Marcus Tullius Cicero said that long ago. Absolutely insane. Some kind of rules. Fear is so sticky, it has seeped into every corner of the Russian Federation. They're afraid. They're afraid. War has arrived. Open the doors, open the windows. The authorities, here's another example of foolish laws in Russia. The authorities have mandated all children's camps in Russia to teach patriotism and traditional values to the kids in the camps. You know, when you talk about Russia and say children's camps, it sounds a bit double-edged, doesn't it? So a unified approach for children's camps was approved by the Ministry of Education of the Russian Federation. The standard is aimed, and I quote, at strengthening traditional values such as respect for life, human dignity, patriotism, civic responsibility, loyalty to the motherland, and a strong family. And this document includes a program and a calendar plan. That is, they also have meetings with heroes of Russia in this program and watching propaganda films. Here, these methods seemed so moronic even to the Russian officials themselves, as strange as it may sound, that children's camp organizers in Russia rebelled. And here's the chairman of the camp association, Andrei Bereznikov, chairman of the camp association. The methods, I'll quote him, the methods set out in the unified program are so straightforward and proposed as mandatory. Their implementation in children's organizations may cause the opposite effect. Formally, they will be carried out by the organizers, but they may cause rejection in children or passive following without comprehension. And there should be comprehension too. Well, this Andrei Bereznikov sees the root of it because he understands that for children, Putin is cutting off their internet, cutting off their Roblox and saying, go on, meet these, heroes in quotes of Russia. That is, children who go to camp to rest will also be forced to love the motherland, love Putin, and meet with former convicts who have returned from the front. So let's just make everything like in North Korea right away. Why be shy? I once came across the impressions of Russian children who went to North Korea to children's camps, came back, and described their experiences. Well, over there, Kim Jong-un has long since gone much further. Russian children said that the North Korean kids who lived in separate buildings wake up before 6 in the morning and go with rags to wipe the monuments of the Kim dynasty, the father and grandfather of Kim Jong-un. Wow, that's something. And I really liked this part from the excerpt. The standard is aimed at strengthening traditional values such as respect for life and human dignity, loyalty to the motherland, and a strong family. In Russia, where the head ghoul respects absolutely neither the life nor the dignity of Russians. He is destroying them by the hundreds of thousands. And as for a strong family, I won't even start. Putin still hasn't shown Russians his strong family, his little Kabaeva kids. He's hiding them. He's afraid too. And here's a news item right on topic. In Russia, sales of antidepressants have reached a record high over 3 years, more than doubling. Forbes is reporting on this. I wonder why that is. Maybe because in the 5th year of the big war, a missile alert was activated yesterday in Russian cities at a distance of 2,500 kilometers from Ukraine. Quite a novelty for Russians. Now the sales volumes of these antidepressants will soar even higher. And I often hear the phrase, no future, from Russian youth participating in street polls. Truly, there is no future. Many understand that cutting off mobile internet is just the beginning. Where mobile goes, landline will be cut off next. When a crazy KGB man is in power, whose mind has just snapped, flown off into the stratosphere and around him are exactly the same kind, what can you expect from them? He'll start a new war tomorrow. He simply can't stop fighting now. He will constantly need an external enemy. Some made-up victories, some made-up threats. Repressions will only intensify, because the pressure inside the Russian Federation will grow, but not indefinitely. And here's another news item on the topic, so Russians don't worry about the internet being cut off. In the ROC, the Russian Orthodox Church, a branch of the FSB, I'll remind you, they suggested thinking about the immortality of the soul during internet outages. Amid mobile internet restrictions in Moscow, St. Petersburg, and other Russian cities, ROSI representative Vakhtang Kipshidze stated that such outages should remind people of the fragility of technological civilization. And I'll also remind you that the head of the ROC, Patriarch Kirill, called the war against Ukraine sacred and promised those who kill Ukrainians the absolution and forgiveness of sins. That KGB rat even built the main military cathedral in central Russia. The main military cathedral, just think about that. And now, the audience of Z-bloggers is starting to catch on to something, starting to get disillusioned. A post like this appeared on one of the major Russian Z channels. I know several admins of major Z patriotic channels that have comments enabled. They all note a sharp change in the mood of their subscribers. In which direction, there's no need to explain. And it all started around the end of last year. To the question, maybe it's psychological ops, they reply that the people writing there have been with us for years. Meaning we'd notice an influx of bots or even live Ukrainian propagandists, they claim on this Z channel. So a large number of Russians, even these jingoistic patriots, suddenly started to realize something. And another Z blogger commented on this publication. According to him, his audience, and I quote, is slowly going crazy and getting bitter. For a long time now. Even Solovyov's crowd has lost their former defensive zeal and are mumbling something indistinctly under their breath. In this state of collective psychosis, society has about a month or two of resilience left, after which terminal changes will set in, and by September it will all end badly if we stay on the current course without turning back. So let me quote another Z blogger. Almost everyone feels the approach of some crap. Everyone's nervous and no one is sure of anything. These people are supposed to manage the collective unconscious, but they're just sitting there, not understanding what's happening. So what is really happening? I think many in Russia have noticed that everything is going the wrong way. I keep seeing those same street polls. Different wording, but they're saying roughly the same thing. We need to end all this. There are, of course, some stubborn old ladies mostly. Among the youth, well, you only see a few. We must go to the end. To what end? To the end means Putin you should seal him in his bunker after, cutting off the oxygen. The war is lost, that's a fact. Putin is just trying to seize a piece of scorched Donbass at the cost of Russia's future collapse and an internal explosion of colossal power. Many have already noticed this. On the other hand, with domestic developments in Russia, everything is stable. Today's news. The service life of old Russian superjets, well, supposedly Russian, they decided to double it after the failure of the aircraft construction program. And why build new ones if you can extend the old one's life twofold, fourfold, you could even extend it tenfold? Russia's Ministry of Industry and Trade is considering increasing the flight hours and service life of Sukhoi superjet aircraft following the failure of a major aviation revival program that the Kremlin launched back in 2023. So, under this program launched 3 years ago, let me remind you, they were supposed to produce civilian airliners, our answer to Boeing and Airbus. Russian carriers were supposed to have already received 42 new import-substituted superjets, including those with domestic PD-8 engines. In reality, the engine still hasn't passed certification, and serial deliveries of Russian airliners still haven't begun. No big deal, Putin will sign off and the deadlines will be pushed back again. Moving on to the Middle East, there are reports that a nuclear deal with Iran is about to be signed. A nuclear deal with Iran? A nuclear deal? Let me remind you for a moment, the original demands from the United States were to dismantle all nuclear equipment and to remove the enriched uranium. Basically give it all up, but here it seems things will be quite different. So Marco Rubio announced that Operation Epic Fury against Iran has been completed, and Operation Project Freedom has begun to clear the passage through the Strait of Hormuz. But Trump has already suspended this operation too, saying there's some very significant progress in negotiations with Iran, and basically they're going to sign something now, or maybe they won't. Well, as is always the case with Trump. The deployment of US armed forces to the Middle East continues unabated. In short, on May 4th, Trump announced Project Freedom for the safe removal of blocked vessels. Then a clarification appeared that no US warships would escort these vessels. And now this Project Freedom has also been suspended. So no one is going anywhere, and the Strait of Hormuz remains closed. And Iran, let me remind you, attacked the United Arab Emirates yesterday using missiles and drones. Trump said it was honestly the worst mistake ever, that he would, absolutely crush everyone. But today he said that we are actually pretty close to signing something or other. Anyway, we're watching. And one more, purely Russian news item. The Kremlin, yes, you'll like this. The Kremlin stated that Russia's bright future is being hindered by foreign post-apocalyptic films. Let me quote, you know who? Alexei Semyonov, deputy head of the Presidential Directorate for Monitoring and Analysis of Social Processes. Do you know what he said? That the image of a beautiful and bright future has vanished in Russia, so there's a need for, and I quote, a state order for a bright future. Well, indeed, we'll systematically produce glasses for Russians and put them on. Everyone will see a bright future through those glasses. And Putin, naturally. Semyonov attributes the loss of a positive image of the future to the influence of Western mass culture and cinema. So that's who's to blame for everything. If before positive films played that role, now it's all gloom and post-apocalypse, Semyonov stated. Well, I think he's thinking of movies like Guest from the Future, where everything is beautiful. There are, talking goats in the future and robot Werther. And here you see this Hollywood is filming some kind of horror. But really, who is to blame for the fact that the future looks somewhat bleak, including for Russians? Who is to blame for deciding to destroy a neighboring country? And who is constantly threatening the whole world with nuclear weapons? Specifically for this official, it's all very simple. For Russians to stop taking antidepressants, for everyone to be happy, one simple thing must be done first. Whack that balding head with a snuff box. Then repent, kneel before Ukraine, pay all reparations and return all stolen territories. Then take the money from oil and gas sales and spend it not on war and missiles, but on science, on infrastructure within the Russian Federation, and on raising the living standards of Russians. Because these things, as Semyonov says, those gangs of cannibals and scorched wastelands in Western movies. In Russia, gangs of cannibals and scorched wastelands are already the future of the coming years, when hundreds of thousands of murderers and maniacs released from prisons return. Only they will return as so-called heroes. Then you'll have your cannibals and scorched wastelands and everything just like in post-apocalyptic movies. So you still have all that ahead of you. Read post-apocalyptic literature, take notes on how to survive during this time, and don't forget to thank Putin for it, Russians. And you, friends, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I'm asking you, let's support the fundraiser for Vitya and his unit for anti-drone protection. The link to the fundraiser is in the description of this video. Remember, together we are a great force. Have a peaceful day, everyone, and glory to Ukraine.